may be an outmoded way of showing someone you care, but the greeting card industry has you covered if you like to mark Grandparents' Day, Secretary's Day, and even Tax Day. There is one occasion, though, Hallmark has decided to ignore. Today is National Equal Pay Day, and it's not something we're celebrating. National Equal Pay Day marks the number of extra days it takes the average woman to earn as much as her male counterparts made in 2013. Women today earn about 77 cents for every dollar a man makes, which means they've had to work 98 additional days to make up the difference. The gender pay gap in this country is even more pronounced for women of color, and it gets worse with age. Women typically earn about 90% of what men are paid until they hit 35. That's when their salaries dip to 78% of that of their male peers. The gender pay gap has improved since 1972, when women earn just 58% of the median income of men. But at this rate, it will take until 2058 for the gap to be closed completely. President Obama and his fellow Democrats are making hay of National Equal Pay Day in hopes of turning the gender pay gap into a major issue this election year. The president signed 2 executive orders today, one keeping federal contractors from retaliating against employees who discuss their salary, the other requiring those contractors provide compensation data to the Labor Department. Of course, those moves will have a limited impact, so how can women improve salaries on their own? Katie Donovan is the founder of Equal Pay Negotiations. She coaches women to get the most out of salary negotiations. Welcome to you, Katie.
Thank you, Emily.
So does this gap pretty much go across the board in all careers, in all professions, or are there some that are regulated so tightly that it's all the same?
Well, I know pharmacists now are making dollar to dollar, so that's good. I'm not sure if that's because of regulations. Doesn't seem to be. And I know also out of all the states or regions, it's the federal government, D.C., which is basically a company town, that has the smallest gap. So some regulations definitely can help. But that smallest gap is still 90 cents on the dollar.
Mm-hmm. So the GS system does control that. What about, like, public school teachers?
Special ed teachers actually have one of the smallest gaps, 98%. I know lawyers have the biggest gap, and that's 58%. Mm-hmm. So, and they negotiate as part of their career. So I'm curious about how that one keeps on happening.
Okay, I want to bring Paula Gutlove into the discussion. She teaches negotiation and conflict management at Simmons School of Management. So you've just done this study, Paula, about negotiations. Are there techniques for women that work better for them than would for a man?
Absolutely, Emily. It's really important to think about the fact that, for the most part, women just don't ask. Mm-hmm. When you're looking at a salary negotiation, women just don't ask. In a study done in 2003 of MBA students, 54% of the male MBA students asked for a salary increase from what they were offered. Only 7% of the women did. This created a gap of $7,000 in the starting salaries that the starting out students were getting. When the women did ask, they got the same amount as the men.
So what I'm getting at here is, I mean, I'm not trying to assess blame, but women can, in fact, be responsible for the fact that there is this gap.
But there are good reasons that women don't ask. Because when a woman asks, she's violating this social norm of niceness. Really. And women are actually penalized for asking. So in some instances, when a woman does ask for more money, she won't get the job or she won't get the raise.
Well, I got to jump in here on a couple of things. Yeah. Once you're underpaid, it's impossible to get out from under it. Every job application has what's your salary at your last job. I tell all of my clients, all my workshop attendees, never answer that question. It can only hurt you because they use it for 2 reasons. As a benchmark, we're going to add 10 to 15% to your past salary. And also as a grading system, headhunters will not submit you if your current pay is considered too low for the next job. Mm-hmm. So
All right, we have a list of common mistakes that you produce, so we're going to put them up here and take a look at them.
Brilliant.
Stating a desired salary, that's a mistake. So let the other guy do it, right?
Well, let the other guy, and also there's research showing women underestimate the value of it. They say 30% less than men.
Well, can I say something?
Let me just go through these. Don't provide a salary history. Of course, they're going to find that out because it's, you know, if they ask you, you got to say. Don't accept the first offer, or at least negotiate, and ask if it's negotiable.
Don't ask if it's negotiable.
Don't ask.
Because they will say no.
Oh.
Just start negotiating.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask to breathe, just start breathing. That's how elemental negotiation should become in the whole hiring process. Just like a resume, just like the interview, the job isn't done until you negotiate.
Most women in the workplace, though, Paula, aren't timid. They're not, you know, naive. They're not afraid. They're not so shy and retiring. Why don't some of these things come naturally?
Well, they are a bit shy and retiring, actually, and a lot of the value that women bring to the table is invisible. Women don't know what to ask for because until now, a lot of salaries are invisible. Yes. There's no transparency around salaries. Once you start publishing what the salaries are, then women will have better data on which to ask. One of the problems that we have is that women are hesitant to ask when they don't have good information. And often the only information they have is what they have from their other women friends. So it's benchmarked, as Katie said, at a lower level.
Right.
What do you think of President Obama's moves? Because I know it is chilling that I've worked in environments where you're not allowed to discuss your salaries. It's like, you know, it's fireable offense in certain places. So
and supposedly
that's a good move. Right?
Excellent move, because supposedly 60% of us work under those situations. So we're going to hurt you, and then we're going to hurt you more if you discover we're hurting you. It's kind of backwards there. So that will help. I think the transparency, even before you get hired, is more important. Jobs don't have any reference to what the minimum pay is. If you are just barely good enough to get this job, what will we pay you? I think that would be a huge game changer.
All right, next year we'll see if this has changed at all. Paula Gottlieb and Katie Donovan, thanks so much.